Hello, hello. My name is Dina Moore, ex Jehovah's Witness, and now I am a life coach and I focus on helping people thrive after the cult, but pretty much anybody. And the reason why I am talking about confirmation bias today is because a lot of times when we think about confirmation bias, we think about it in terms of the religion, and that is true, but the truth is that we are all suffering from confirmation bias every second of the day, every thought that goes through our head. I'm going to dive into why that can sabotage us as we're going on our healing journey. But let me back up for a second and let me explain what confirmation bias is and how it works in the brain. So, this is a natural thing that the brain does. The brain's responsibility is to prove you right. The brain's responsibility is to protect your beliefs. This is actually super helpful. It keeps us from being wishy washy. For example, when a child first starts learning that maybe fire is hot, fire is dangerous, confirmation bias is what keeps us from going, yes, it is. No, it's not. Maybe it is. I don't know. Going back and forth. Confirmation bias allows us to form beliefs that become the building blocks and the foundation for learning. So there's a good purpose for it. It starts to backfire though, because here's why. Here's how confirmation bias works. The human brain is receiving approximately 11 million bits of data per second. And there are actually other experts that even put that number higher. They put it as high as like 20 million bits of information per second. So we are these human satellites that are receiving, let's just go with 11 million. We're receiving 11 million bits of data per second. And that is too much information to process. Our head would blow up. We have a filtering mechanism. The unconscious mind is able to process approximately 40,000 bits of data. So we go from 11 million to 40,000 unconsciously. And then consciously, we are able to be aware of approximately 40 bits of data per second. So our brain goes 11 million, 40,000 to 40. Okay. How does your brain choose which 40,000 pieces of information to pick out of 10,960,000 other pieces of information? How do we choose which piece of information to focus on? Well, it's the information that supports our beliefs. This is confirmation bias is one of the processes of filtering through this information. So our beliefs form part of this filter. This is why it is very difficult to wake up active Jehovah's Witnesses, because their brain is filtering for proof that confirms their beliefs. So as soon as there's an earthquake, as soon as there's a fire, as soon as there's a flood, the first thing their brain goes is beep, 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 beep. See, it's serving them the proof on a silver platter that Armageddon is imminent. So that is obviously not helpful. And here's the real thing to focus on. They are discarding other facts. Okay. I was reading some Jehovah Witness comments on Facebook the other day. How some people kind of will post text messages that they received from family members. And so an active Jehovah's Witness texts the ex Jehovah's Witness and says, our faith is based on hard facts and evidence. And of course, that makes me laugh because the Jehovah's Witness beliefs are clearly not based on hard facts and evidence. It is cherry picked. And in their mind, it is completely solid. It is fact in their brain because they're suffering from confirmation bias. Their brain is filtering from 11 million bits of fact. It's pulling that 40,000 that says, here, your religious beliefs, the Jehovah's Witness beliefs, are completely true. So this is a phenomenon that we talk about a lot with religion, but your brain is doing this all day anyway. Your brain's job is to prove you right. Now, why is this so important in recovery? Well, because our brain continues to cherry pick information that is proving our beliefs right. What non religious beliefs do we have that we're being served the confirmation of? How about beliefs like it's hard to make friends in the world? I don't fit in. Um, I don't get along with people. It's hard to make money. It's impossible to get ahead because I wasted 38 years in the religion. I don't have an education. Therefore, I'll never be able to be successful. Okay, my friends, this is my specialty. I have been working with people with these kind of limiting beliefs for 20 years, even when I was in the religion. I worked with Mormons, I worked with business owners, I worked with people explaining this concept of confirmation bias, that when they believe something like it's impossible to be successful if you don't have an education, I would help them explain that that seems like a fact to them because your brain is going to serve you proof that you're right. Okay, so hopefully this just blew up your brain. I really hope that this just blew up your brain. In fact, you know what? I have a whole other YouTube channel about creating your future, creating with your beliefs and the power of manifesting. If you want to check out my other channel, it has nothing to do with religion. It has strictly what to do to recreate your life. But check that out if this is something that just blew your head up. Because when I lost my life, when I lost my kids, when I lost my family, when I lost my religion, when I lost everything overnight, and when I talk about I had to start massively reprogramming my brain, this is one of the biggest chunks that I'm talking about. So I had, just like a lot of you, I find myself with no support system. I find myself with beliefs about what it's like to live in the world. I find myself with, no education, no college. I'm a woman, belief, all of those beliefs will ruin you if you continue to believe those. Because remember, your brain is going to prove you right, whether it's a helpful belief or not. This is how we start creating our new reality. So, if you watched one of my videos on some of the things that happened to me after I got out of the religion, I'll just explain it again. So, one of the first things that I tackled was worldly people are dangerous. Worldly people are what? They're all drug addicts. They're all going to screw you over. They're all bad heroin, sex addicted, horrible people, right? So I knew that that was not going to be a very useful belief now that I am in the world. And of course, if I continue to believe that, what kind of people am I going to see? My brain is going to cherry pick the proof that the world is exactly as I believe it to be. I changed this belief to the belief that people are wonderful, people are loving, people are just people, people are kind, people want to help. Now, think about that for a second. If you chose to believe that, feel what your brain would start doing. You start seeing new bits of information. All of a sudden, your brain starts sorting through that other 10,960,000 bits of information, and it starts showing you kind people. It starts showing you the good parts of life. Maybe we could kind of explain it like this. Have you ever lost your keys and you spend 4 hours looking for your keys only to find that they're right on the table and they've been there all along? You see, confirmation bias kind of works like this. As long as you believe that worldly people are bad, that is literally all you're going to see. You will end up even attracting that. We use phrases in our speech like attracts like. Now, I get into this topic a whole lot more on the other YouTube channel. I'll just keep it to the confirmation bias right now. You're going to be proving yourself right. So, this belief that worldly people were bad, dangerous, toxic, that was the first one that I switched. I switched it to people are kind, people are generous, people are loving. And shortly thereafter, I was in the middle of the custody battle with my kids. Everything was upside down, and I was sitting in my car in a parking lot at a grocery store, and I was crying because I'm in the middle of this custody battle and it's a mess. So a lady, total stranger, she knocks on the window of the car, my car window, and she says, "Are you okay?" And I'm crying, and so I kind of start explaining to her my situation, and she says, "Come here, let me take you for a cup of coffee." So she takes me to McDonald's, and I'm explaining that I'm going back and forth for custody and, the shunning and all of that. And she says to me, she says, "How are you going to get your kids back if you don't have a house?" And I go, I have no idea. I don't know. You can't keep a job when you're going back and forth. Every 3 weeks I'm traveling 2,000 miles and I don't have the money for deposits. And she says, "My neighbor has a fully furnished empty house. His mother passed away. And so there's this fully furnished house. Let me call and see if he'll let you stay there." So she calls the owner of the house. Again, I'd known this woman like not even an hour. And she calls this other total stranger, explains the situation, and he says, "Give her the keys to the house, let her stay there." So I got to stay in a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, fully furnished house for a year. And he never charged me a penny. It was an act of human kindness. And I believe with my whole heart, I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in randomness. I don't believe in chance. And I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that our brain has the ability to change circumstances depending on what our beliefs are. And more importantly, what the energy is that we have. And that was one of the tools that I used to recreate my life at rocket ship speed instead of tortoise speed. So of course this is lucky, or is it because I chose to believe that people are beautiful and people are helpful and people are thoughtful and people are wonderful? As you think those things to yourself, you might even notice that it feels different. It feels better. It feels more optimistic. It feels positive. And when we carry beliefs like that in our neurology, our brain is going to sort things differently. You know, maybe that lady, when she saw me crying, maybe she felt an energy there. What if I had been angry and bitter and been sitting in the car cursing the ground and cursing everybody? And maybe she wouldn't have knocked on the window. Those beliefs and those thoughts that we have are powerful, and it can change your life, because not only had I already spent time helping other people change their lives, but I'm a witness that it works in real life too. Now, I've got a bajillion different examples of other ways that worked too. Another way, another way is with job opportunities. I answered a Craigslist ad, and then they were super flexible. It was a great paying temp job. I could come and go as I needed to, and all of that was because I chose to believe that opportunity was everywhere. As I went into real estate, the belief that I am great with people, that I mean, I could just go on. I mean, I need to do a whole video on that. But the point of this one is, you are still suffering for confirmation bias. Every time you think it's hard to acclimate, healing takes time. It's hard to change. In your mind, you're probably thinking that this is a fact, but understand that the reason why you think it's a fact is because your brain is giving you the confirmation through the power of confirmation bias. So, how do we start to change this? Well, every time you think a thought, and it's a negative thought, because maybe we don't all maybe everything is not negative. Maybe we have some belief like everything is going to be wonderful, my life is so much better now. Great. That is a perfect example of using confirmation bias in your favor. Because as soon as you think life is so much more wonderful, my life is so much fuller, your brain now starts searching for all of the proof that your life is wonderful. But as you're finding something that is not very supportive, the first thing that you need to do is you need to challenge that. Really? Is that true? Every human thinks that life is hard or worldly people are difficult or whatever. Really? Like everyone on the planet, there's like billions of people on the planet. Every single one of them thinks that's true. Or how about this one? Without a college education, I'll never amount to anything. Really? So, like, every entrepreneur, every salesperson, every single person who's ever done anything, they all had college educations. None of them had a struggling background. And then all of a sudden, maybe we start questioning a little bit, and it starts changing your ability to filter possibilities. Okay. So, challenging those beliefs is the first thing. Recognizing that, wait a second, not every human believes that. Not every human believes that. The next thing that you start to do is you say, what would I see if I chose to believe the opposite? If I chose to believe that I absolutely can be successful at anything I choose to be, how would that feel? What opportunity, just like those keys on the table, what opportunity might be in front of me right this second that I'm missing because I'm filtering for problems? I'm filtering for challenges. That's another one. How many people believe that everything is hard, life is complicated, life is difficult, relationships are hard, dating is hard, finding a partner is, bad, hard. Oh my goodness, my friends, my friends, my friends. We got rid of confirmation bias for the religion. Now we have lifestyle deprogramming that needs to be done to help us start overcoming all these other limiting beliefs that we have about life in general, life as a whole. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here because I could go on about this for literally hours and hours. I'm going to ask you, pretty please, pretty please, pretty please, to share this video with your friends, with other JW groups that you know, because this is how we are on a rocket ship to healing. This is how you embrace your freedom and you turn your life from a floundering Jehovah's Witness to a flourishing person out in the world. And I would also ask that you please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a comment, because I want to hear what other limiting beliefs are going through your mind, what other challenges that you have, because this all gives me content for future videos. So I would really appreciate every single comment, every single subscriber. I love all of you. You're all my EXJW family. Okay. All right. Mwah. Love you all. I will talk to you soon.